Welcome back to the Daily Drum on WHUR and Sirius XM Channel 141. This is the Insight segment. I'm Harold Fisher. Tonight, we're talking about leveling up and putting yourself on a strong path toward career success. What does it really take to get ahead? We're taking a closer look at job readiness services happening in a place you might not immediately think of, the YWCA. We're talking about a resource for adults trying to build their next chapter. Now, both of my guests are with the YWCA of the National Capital Area. Alethea Adams is the Chief Program Officer, and Dana Campbell is the Director of Education and Training Programs. We are specifically speaking tonight about the Career Education and Training Center. Ladies, thank you so much for joining the conversation. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Now, a lot of times when people hear about, the YWCA, they often get it confused with the YMCA. They may think about youth programs, fitness, but let's just kind of lay the groundwork if we can. What is the YWCA and what is its specific function for the community?
Dana, I'll let you jump in.
Oh, lay the groundwork. So just telling a little bit about what we do here at the YWCA. So we have our services include first career education and training centers. So we focus on workforce development training for DC residents 18 and older. We also provide workforce training, career services, resume development, interview skills, partnering DC residents with current employers, hoping to, help people develop more of a sense of the careers that they're interested in and get them involved and get them on track to become employed, support their families, become independent, again, of benefit services. Then we also offer youth mentoring and development to young girls, middle school and high school, and newly coming programming for elementary school girls as well, including STEAM and STEM programming, mentoring, and summer programs. So keep an eye on our website for that detail. And then our more upcoming information that we'll be sharing with the community is advocacy work. We often share details about, upcoming politics that are going on in our city, advocating for not only women, but people in our city, and just, keeping the message strong to help our community.
Yeah, thank you for that. You were going to say something, Alethea?
Yeah, I was going to just, talk a bit about the YWCA overall mission. And our mission, we're a 160 plus organization. We have locations not only locally, but nationally and internationally. And our mission is all about eliminating racism, empowering women, promoting peace, justice, freedom, and dignity for all. And we do that through a variety of ways, through empowerment, activities, social justice, community impact, providing, food for those who need it, among, other things with our career education and training program. So I just wanted to make sure, that everybody understands the true difference between the YWCA and the YMCA in terms of what our mission is.
Absolutely, and I think that's really important, particularly in the context of job readiness and what you have been doing and what you're trying to do. So when we talk about that term, job readiness, what services fall under that umbrella, and even more broadly, what does that mean in 2026?
Right. And I'll just jump in really quick and just say the first thing is we take a holistic perspective. It's not that you're coming in just to get a particular skill, but you're getting case management support, you're getting mentoring, you're getting leadership skills development, you are getting support. A lot of our participants, as they've come through our program, they've said that it feels like family when they're here. We try to welcome people and make them feel like they are a part of something, that they can be successful. regardless of what potential barriers or obstacles that they may be coming in. And so we take a strength perspective. When you first come in through the door, we give you a variety of assessments. You meet with, several different parts of the staff, and we actually ask you about your goals, and we create a plan to help you deal with those, get to those goals, even if you have some stumbling blocks along the way.
Okay. So when you talk specifically about what services fall under. So if a woman comes in, and let's say that she is a 30 or 35-year-old woman,
Mhm.
and she is ready for job readiness but doesn't know where to start. I mean, what happens, Dana, when she walks in the door?
So first thing first, we welcome her to come in and ask her, okay, what are some interests that she may have in career specifically? We want to take the time just to get to know them first, know her. She's invited to join an information session with us where we can go over all the services that we have to offer. And then we begin, as Alethea mentioned, to provide assessment. We need to know where our students are academically with math and reading skills. It's not just to, test them and for right or wrong, but it's to see what skills they already have and what skills they might need support with. We then can provide them with a program interview. I conduct that, our case manager will conduct that, just to give more context into what we have to offer and who she is. It's a time for us to get to know that person. What's the background in terms of her living situation, in terms of criminal backgrounds or not, what support she already has in place. So again, we're forming a relationship. That's the most important thing when people walk in the door. And then from there, we provide additional support with case management. If they're already connected to other resources, we want to make sure that they're getting all the support that they need, and then where else can we fill in that gap? We do serve primarily SNAP recipients through the SNAP education and training program. So folks can be referred to us, folks can come to us already receiving those benefits. The benefit of SNAP education and training program is to provide additional financial resources to help them go to work, essentially. And we provide additional career assessments because we want to, again, help them to broaden their scope in terms of what's available to them, in terms of what skill sets they already have that might be transferable into other areas of work. That in a nutshell, I think. I don't know if Lethea, you want to add more, but that's our focus. One is to get to know the person and see where they are and see from a holistic perspective where we can support them. Where can we support them?
Who typically comes to see you to try to take advantage of these services? I mean, are these people who are in a career changing mode? Are we talking about people who are unemployed, young adults? I know you did talk about people who may have issues with the criminal justice system, like returning citizens. Are you seeing perhaps those who have been impacted by the Doge purge, for example?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say all of the above. I mean, anyone 18 and over, and it really changes throughout the year, and it definitely has shifted quite a bit recently, both post-COVID and also since the recent layoffs that we've had, more individuals walking through the door who do have higher skill sets, or they're just trying to figure out like what is their next plan. And some people may have been working where they were grandfathered in, so their skill set was perfect for the job that they were doing then. But now, say they may need some more IT skills, or they may need a couple of certificates or certifications in particular areas. And so they come to us to kind of get an idea of what can I do with what I have, and then what else do I need to supplement what I have to make me a stronger candidate. Because let's be real, it's really tough out there right now, even with job skills.
So when, as it relates to those people who may have several layers of workable skills, but are looking to either find other employment or just to make a change. Do you do kind of career coaching, one-on-one counseling to help them figure out their next steps?
Yes, we do. To add a little bit more to what Alethea said in your question, we are serving parents
Mm,
of multiple children. We're serving job seekers, whether it's first time, second time, they're coming back into the workforce. We're also serving folks that are just have employment barriers altogether. So we're serving across the spectrum. So yes, the assessments, we talk, we career coach, we have several online tools we use, just kind of help them navigate and again assess, maybe discover some of the skills that they haven't been touched or haven't been asked about. It could be someone who's been working in the last 5 years, last 30 years, and they just want to make a transition.
mm. Um, when you have someone who comes in, um, I can only imagine that if they're coming to you, that they're coming for help, that there are some barriers. What kind of barriers to new employment or better employment have you seen?
You want to take that, Alethea? Or?
Sure.
Just jump in.
Yeah, I would say the changes in technology are the big
Yes.
ones. Where it used to be some basic skills of being able to type and,
Mm,
manage an office, those kind of things were easy to do, but now there's so much technology involved, and even a retail job, like you have to understand how to work those computers, those machines that are now doing that work for you. And sometimes that can be scary for people when they're making that change and not sure if they can improve those skills in a way that they can be competitive on paper, because that's really what it gets down to as well, is what transferable skills and certifications that you have that look good on paper that are going to get you in the door, at least to get an interview or even be considered for that position. So what we really try to do is have people, as Dana mentioned, we have a few online tools that we use to have people explore what their interests are, what things they might like to do in their spare time, what they might be doing volunteer work, or they may be doing things that they may not even consider as a skill set, and being able to look at, okay, how can I change that into something that will help me get an edge over in the workforce.
mm. Are you concerned at all, for example, about the proliferation of AI or AI related issues that some would say have made some job skills obsolete or could provide other barriers to those who may have entered the workforce when AI did not exist?
Definitely. I mean, it's something that we talk about all the time in our organization, and we actively track and look at, best practices for use of AI and non-use of AI, because there are some times where AI is just not appropriate in the work that we do, for confidentiality reasons, but also, making sure that people understand it and are not afraid of it, at least, to know how to better utilize it. And that can be kind of, something that when students come in and we do basic digital literacy skills with them, is just assessing what is it that you do know and what you don't know, so that we can then fill in those gaps for them.
I want to find out more specifically about what you just mentioned, Alicia, about digital literacy. But I need to take a break. But before I do that, is there a phone number or a website that you would like to throw out for those who are interested in these services?
Yeah.
Yes. Our website is www.ywcanca.org. Our main number is 202-626-0700. And then I can give you my contact number directly. It's 202-349-3931. Folks can get directly contacted with me for immediate answers to questions about Career Education and Training Center.
Okay, and probably most importantly, ywcanca.org. Ladies, thank you so much. Stay with us. We're going to continue this conversation in just a bit. Don't forget, you can hear this and every edition of the Daily Drum Inside segment via podcast on WHUR.com. The original Quiet Storm with Raheem Devon is next on WHUR. This conversation continues on Sirius XM channel 141 in just a few seconds. Welcome back to the Daily Drum on Sirius XM channel 141. I'm Harold Fisher. We continue our conversation about the Career Education and Training Center at the YWCA National Capital Area. Both of my guests are with the YWCA National Capital Area. Alethea Adams is the Chief Program Officer, and Dana Campbell is the Director of Education and Training Programs. Before the break, Alethea mentioned something about digital literacy. What does that mean for those who are listening and wondering, beyond knowing how to post on Instagram?
Right.
Beyond knowing how to do the latest fan dance on TikTok. What, from an employable person standpoint, what does it mean to be digitally literate?
Yeah, and I'll give you a quick example, Harold. And the first thing that comes to mind is that a lot of times some of the jobs now will give you an online behavioral assessment to see whether or not you are an appropriate fit for the job that you may be applying to. We have a hospitality career track, and a lot of times that, that's something that our students are given for potential employment. And if you don't know how to navigate through that system, for simple as logging in and being able to put your credentials in, your name, your information, and being able to follow instructions to get through that piece, you've already lost the first step in that opportunity. And so making sure, and even with a lot of, since COVID, a lot of things have gone online. Our home health aide and CNA workers, they have to do their exams online now. And so being able to actually log in and feel comfortable going through all the steps that get you there, because we know computers are not 100% and there's always a problem. So being comfortable with navigating through that as well. And they don't know if you have any additional things to add.
Yeah, I wanted to share something else that's important that we've noticed in serving our community, even through our food pantry, is folks understanding how to access their healthcare information through healthcare portals. We do have an assessment tool that we give to students, participants, so that they can get an understanding of, what a health portal is and how to navigate that. But that's another example why it's important to have digital skills, because, whether you have Kaiser or, United Healthcare, you have to access your health appointments online. So we want to make sure people are comfortable accessing the internet, different softwares, just being comfortable with using a mouse and a keyboard. It's very different from a cell phone and a tablet. So again, it's about providing comfort, education, and skill development with digital skills here at the YWCA.
That's interesting, because for a lot of people, they would think that these things are foundational, and indeed something that everyone should know. Are you finding that some of the people who are coming to you have no workable skills at all?
I wouldn't say none. I'd say dated workable skills. I had the opportunity to work with a woman through the healthcare program who was, I'm sure, in her early 60s. She had to take the assessment that we give on the computer. She was used to tapping a screen with a tablet, not comfortable with using a mouse. In that moment, I had to quickly provide her with access to my touchscreen computer so she could finish the assessment. While I'm assessing her and being able to identify these are the skills that she's going to need to work in a healthcare environment. Home health aid is not just about serving, the elderly food. They have to be able to navigate portals and systems to enter in data and information about who they're serving. So it's just dated skills.
Yeah. What other, and if you can, Dana, and there may be a lot, but if you could kind of list some of the more requested skills or kinds of training beyond digital, for example, that you have to offer.
Oh, sure. So Alethea mentioned hospitality training. We offer a course in guest services. That's entry-level skills. It's legitimizing entry-level skills to work inside of a hotel or even in customer service retail. We offer, in partnership, healthcare training for home health aid and CNA. So folks who want to work, like I said, who want to get paid to work with the elderly or people who are physically ill. Through the Board of Nursing, we in partnership help them get that training skill and take exams to get licensed through the Board of Nursing.
Mm-hmm. So where do these training or instructional processes, where do they happen?
So they're hybrid. We have both in person and we have online courses that are available depending on the course, depending on your situation. We have some evening online classes, and we have our own learning management system that we house our curriculum in that students can access 24 hours a day. So whether they're in class with an instructor or not, their learning does not have to stop.
So, but for example, Dana mentioned guest services or working with the elderly who may have some physical challenges. You can't do that from a computer. I mean, there's got to be some hands-on work. So is this happening at a hotel, for example? Is this happening at a nursing home or assisted living home? How does that work in those two examples?
Danny, you want to take the home health aid?
Yes. So with our partnership, she does have on-site training in the classroom. So a portion of the training is virtual, and at some point it transitions into in-person because you do have to learn how to touch a person, how to support a person. So they do in-class training with a mannequin, for example. They have several practice exams and assessments to ensure that person feels comfortable with working with humans. And then outside of book work, and then there's a 1 week practicum or in-person learning session where they're partnered with local nursing homes and supervised by licensed professionals to then practice the skills that they learn in the classroom in a real world environment.
Mm-hmm. So how long does training actually take? And I'm sure it may vary from specialty to specialty, but how much time are we talking about here?
So for healthcare at minimum, the course is 9 weeks, but I always say give an additional few weeks after that because there's processes that have to be followed for adults to get certified and licensed. So the course itself is 9 weeks. Thereafter, they prepare for the written and skills exams. They have to schedule through the Board of Nursing assessment systems. And in between that, they can study for the exam, to get hands-on skills training to prepare for the that part of the exam as well. And then the additional last step is being able to pass a federal background check. And that includes not just a criminal check, but also making sure there's no DC traffic violations. That's a big one for a lot of our residents. Another whole conversation.
Well, no. Let's have that conversation now because I think that's something that I was, as you mentioned, that I was surprised to hear.
Yes.
And it may seem again to be foundational. It may seem to be a very simple thing, but why is that problematic?
Board of nursing, you have to have I might forget it, Alethea, but help me. You have to have a clean bill of, um, what is it called? You just have to have a clean record. So
Hmm.
no, when we're talking about traffic violations, no traffic violation, whether it's the camera lights, whether it's parking tickets, that's a big one for DC residents. So folks
Really?
that have, yes, we've encountered that quite a few lately. So parking that may have happened 6 years ago, but it's still on their record, their driver's license and their vehicle record. And so anyway, Board of Nursing can pick that up through the fingerprinting and background checking. And that will stop people from being able to obtain their license through Board of Nursing.
Wow,
We
I didn't know that. I mean, because I'm thinking, why would having parking tickets be an impediment to a nursing related position?
And I think it's also related to, how many tickets you have and how
Mm.
much they amount to.
That is the key.
So,
And that is, as Dana said, the
keeping
other
in
conversation having nothing whatsoever to do with the YWCA.
yeah, just keeping
Yes.
in mind that you don't want anybody working with a vulnerable population who may have, other, needs or wants and trying to resolve other issues of their own, uh,
Hmm.
at the cost of the patient that they're caring for.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think that really goes to the heart of something, is that you also want people of good character.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yes, and if that
Yes.
person, as you say, has perhaps financial vulnerabilities or temptations, that and in working with seniors or other people who who may have access to capital. Yeah, I get it. You want good people around the people that you're serving.
Right.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, that certainly makes sense. But even when you're talking about a 9-week program, Dana, I would imagine also that you are dealing with people who are trying to juggle their current job, even as they are trying to get a better job. They may have childcare issues. They may have
Mhm.
transportation issues. So, what can you do to help make the programs more accessible when, as they say, life be lifing, you know?
Yeah. And I want to say this, Harold, because you can never say this enough. Childcare is one of the biggest barriers in Washington, D.C. for
Hmm.
a majority of the women that come to us for services. And primarily because one, the cost is, ridiculous. And then two, because it's also a limited amount of licensed childcare providers that are available. And we've had women who will travel all the way to Northwest for our class, but then also may have to go to Northeast or Southwest or wherever to take their child or pick their child up from daycare because that's the only available, option that they have that they can afford. Now, one thing with the program participants that we work with who are receiving SNAP benefits is that we can help them write a letter, let them know that they're in training program, and it will help them with accessing better childcare options, as well as being able to provide them with additional transportation support. So Metro fare cards to get them back and forth from where they need to be. But definitely childcare is always going to be one of those issues in the district that our women are going to face in getting sustainable, livable wages and working conditions.
Yeah, that makes sense. Which brings me to another point. You just said something, Alethea, that struck me. You were speaking about helping them to write a letter to make sure that it's understood that they are in a training program. Uh, we all know that for example, resumes of even 20 years ago are not the same as they are now. That whole process
Mhm.
has changed. Are you able to to help them with that kind of training to kind of bring them into the 21st century of resume writing and applying for jobs and the like.
Definitely. That's one of the key things we talk about when folks walk in the door. I'm asking if you already have a resume, if it's ever been edited or revised. If they don't, we have plenty of free tools and resources to be able to support them in that. We coach around asking questions in terms of what skills you already have, what skills do you need, what was your past employment, doing exercises. So they literally write down a list of all the work that they've paid work and unpaid work, volunteer work that they've done to help support the case of their skills that are able to be used in different career facets. So that's definitely one of the first things we talk about as soon as they walk in the door. Then we offer workshops in resume writing. We recruit volunteers with backgrounds in career coaching or maybe human resources that come with that skill set, knowledge of LinkedIn and Indeed profiling. So we, again, try to get all the resources that we can employ for our students to be successful, even writing cover letters. The cover letters we know are not the same cover letter. It can be an email, but it's more about how to write that cover, what language to use. Because again, Alethea said this earlier, we want to show people how they can express themselves on paper first to be selected. And I think that's the most important key tool that folks need to be educated about. It's about who you know, but it's also about how you can express yourself on paper, express your skills.
What about soft skills? We've done a lot of talking about tangible certifications, education, re-education, and the like. But how do you handle specifics about the soft skills?
Yeah, that's a good question. And we're always focused on soft skills because, we often do, get individuals in who are dealing with life crisis all the time. And so, understanding time management, understanding how to communicate with, them, with their employers, their support systems, all of those things, understanding how to problem solve issues because there are going to be issues. Childcare, as I said, is one of those things. If you are riding public transportation and the metro breaks down and you're on your way to work and you have to drop your child off first, understanding there are some steps that you need to take to also consider your employer in letting them know what's going on with you in terms of them being able to prepare the environment for the work environment for you not being there. So we have an actual course that we have all of our students. It's a requirement as part of our curriculum outline where we go over very specific social skills that people should have, entering into the workforce.
This is a lot. Okay. This is, and when I say it's a lot, I'm talking about what little you've shared even in this conversation. I can see that trying to provide the resources, providing the people, providing the expertise for a huge need in the community. Where do you get all of the people from? I can't imagine that Dana and Alethea are the only people who are teaching classes. You wouldn't get any sleep. And so, where are your resources coming from to provide these services?
So we do, enlist the support of some contractual consultants, instructors, but primarily, our volunteers are golden. Like we have one volunteer now who has been, just a blessing to us in terms of our hospitality program. As he retired from the hospitality industry and has a wealth of knowledge that he brings to the course and supporting and mentoring the students on preparing them to go out there and apply for these jobs and obtain these jobs. We also have partnerships. We have a partnership with a hotel chain here in the District of Columbia where they have allowed us to bring our students to their site, see front end, back end, talk to some of their managers of their different departments to really get an understanding of what the job looks like, not just on paper, but in reality, so that people can really make an honest decision for themselves if it's a good fit.
Hmm. Dana, I'm sure that you've seen enough of the students to see someone who has done particularly well after coming through the program. Do you have any stories or anecdotes you want to share about someone who has performed above and beyond and has gone on to not just a better job, but a career?
Yes, we have a participant that just finished her 90 days of employment with our employer partner in hospitality. She is doing guest services, front desk. We are so excited for her. She started out as a mother and grandmother. Um,
Mm.
and she has come from a background of working for years in different contractual positions. And then the pandemic hit. And as you mentioned, Doge hit, and she lost her position. And so she was looking for a fresh start. Her background included just always being there for her family and grandchildren, putting herself second. And she said, she woke up and came to us and said, I want to put myself first. And so she started strong in our hospitality training program. She completed and got her guest service gold certification. And then opportunities came up for her to apply for a position with our employer partner at the hotel. And she got the position and she started, and she has been sunshine. Um, so, and I say that because it was a win-win, right? We were able to tell the employer at the time, who wasn't a partner. I mean, people are skeptic, right? Who are we referring? Do you know them that well? Are they going to be successful? And so the win for us is that we delivered a product that was strong, that was courageous. We empowered her. She developed a skill while she was with us. We also continue to walk with her in that journey over the last 90 days, and we'll continue to support her as well after the 90 days. But that's the story that we want to be able to tell, that we can take a person from where they are and help develop them if they stick to it, if they're driven, if they're dedicated. Life happened to her a few times. Even while she was employed, she missed a couple of days, but she maintained and she stayed in and she finished her 90 days. So that's one of our success stories. She's a SNAP recipient. She got some funding through the Education and Training Program for transportation. We purchased her some uniforms that she needed and shoes for her position. That was all through working with us. And when I went to visit her for the first time and saw her all dressed up, we took pictures with her. She was so happy and excited and so thankful for the support that she received from us. It doesn't just take me and Alethea, it takes a community of support. And she had a really great manager, really great HR staff that brought her on and trained her. She likes most about the position that she gets to get free meals at the hotel.
Listen, hey, I'm always here for the free meal.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's
and listen, we laugh at that.
uh-huh.
We joke about that,
Yeah.
but in this day and time, if you're at a nice hotel and you get a free lunch at the hotel restaurant, that's what, $15-$20 a
Yes.
day that you do not have to spend.
Mm-hmm.
So what is that? That's $100 a week. That's $400 a month. You don't
Mm-hmm.
have to spend time packing your own lunch. And so, as I said, we kind of chuckled about that, but that is a real thing,
Mm-hmm.
particularly for someone who may be coming from an unemployed situation and is counting every dime.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, so certainly that is a very, very real thing. I did want to ask, and this will be my last question, and I'll have you answer it, Alethea. You know, for those who are listening to this conversation, they're struggling, they're not sure where to start. Um, you know, what would you want to tell them to encourage them, even as they are coming to see the staff at the YWCA?
I would say the first thing to do is to think I can. Because if you believe that you can, even if it takes you a little while to get there, if you believe that you can do it and you reach out and you surround yourselves with the support and the individuals, the community that you need to be successful, eventually you will get there. We have had, students who have come to us and they've dropped in and dropped out of our program, and 5-6 years, and then they accomplish their goals, but they believe that they could do it regardless of how life kept hitting them or putting barriers in front of their way. If you believe it, that's the first step to, and I hate to sound corny, but to achieving it. Because you gotta want it, you gotta know that you deserve it, and you gotta be willing to ask for help. And if you have those three things coming in our door, you're most likely going to be successful with the support that we're going to offer you.
I think I'll stop here, but I want to thank both of you, Dana Campbell, Alethea Adams with the YWCA National Capital Area, for sharing this information that could very well change someone's life. And as always, this information will be posted on our website on WHUR.com tonight. So again, ladies, thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you for having us.
Sure
Thank
thing.
you.
That is the Daily Drum for Tuesday, February 10th. I'm Harold Fisher. Good night.